Hey everybody, welcome back to the Halo 2 Pistol Only Challenge, where we're trying to make it all the way through Halo 2 on a heroic difficulty by only using the pistol. Now the rules are simple. I can only use the pistol in all of the levels of Halo 2. Melee is included. I cannot use grenades. Vehicles are alright as long as I'm not the one shooting, and I can't kill teammates for extra ammo. And so we're back at it here. I'm going to do some weapon swapping just so I can get my pistol right off the bat, give my allies some better weapons. Skip through this part just a little bit because we've just got a monologue here that takes up about 4 or 5 minutes of the first bit of this level. And then we're jumping right into it. So some of the biggest challenges with this level were just learning how to use the pistol with the Flood. Now, the plasma pistol is not really ideal in most cases in this level unless you're just trying to pick off some of the infection forms. But surprisingly, it did do all right if you could hit the Flood combat form squarely in the chest. And so throughout this video, you'll probably see a lot of spamming, a lot of me clicking the trigger really fast, just so that way a couple of those combat forms can go down quicker. I also pick up quite a few different weapons here and there just to stack my allies. I relied on them a lot when it came to just taking out the infection forms and the combat forms that were a little bit further away. I tried to stay pretty close to them. I also tried to get up close and personal with the Flood, which is kind of hard to do in Halo 2 because you get just a lot of the slappies and just like that there. But once I figured out that it is possible to use a combination of the pistol and melee, it worked out all right. I was also trying to spam the trigger a lot when going up against the Sentinels because overcharging used way too much of the battery. And what you'll see here toward the end of the elevator ride is that as we kind of continue on here, there were not a whole lot of combat forms that dropped extra plasma pistols. So really, I was just dealing with or using the one plasma pistol this entire time. I got down to about 20% here. I lose one of my allies, which was a huge bummer because he had I believe he had a carbine, which helped a ton picking off the enemies that were further away. And so here I start to notice the flashing symbol let me know my ammo is getting low at about 15% battery, which sucked. I was just struggling in this section for the longest time. So you'll see a couple of deaths here where I was just trying my best to conserve ammo, punch a little bit in melee, but I could not punch my way out of this. At this point too, this part sucked a lot because I just saw my buddy get overwhelmed. I was just trying to melee a lot. Did this ring around the rosy crap a lot, and then would just end up getting slapped to death. So we get to the bottom of the elevator here, and as we get down to the bottom, I just get one-shotted. Now, I was definitely low on shields there, so I decided second time around, you know what, I'm just going to sprint through, but I thought, you know, it is helpful to have an ally, so let's go back, let's see if I can't help him out a little bit. I was shocked that he did not die right here. I was just waiting for that one infection form just to jump on his head, take him out, but we made it through. So here I'm able to pick up a fresh plasma pistol. We head into kind of the main, I don't know if you want to call it like the main arena room or just kind of this test lab here. But I'm trying to load myself up with some other weapons that I can give my allies later on. This room took forever to clear, and so I jumped through quite a bit here just because there's a lot of wasted time, wasted energy, and I figure that most people probably don't want to just see me killing the same enemies over and over. I did die a couple of times in this level, in this room here, and so it was a lot of just trying to figure out like where enemies were, because at times they would spawn. I'd give my allies different weapons. This was like, I guess, the biggest mistake of my entire life right here, because then I just get immediately punched in the back. But back to what I was saying before, it was a lot of this. A lot of just finding these lone enemies that were just stacked up in a corner somewhere where like my ally and I just could not find anybody. And we'd be running around the whole room just trying to find a single enemy, and there was nothing to be found. So right here, my ally goes down, so it's just me trying to take out the rest of this room here. And so in this part here, this probably took the most time. So towards the end, there's probably about 4, 5, or 6 combat forms that all jump out at the same time. Now, normally, if I had other weapons, wouldn't be that big a deal. We could just use the carbine to pick them off. We could use the energy sword. No biggie there. But in this case, I had to do a lot of figure eights, a lot of circles, and just repeated patterns just to take them out. In this part here, I got really, really stuck on just a couple of boxes and then just ended up getting absolutely mauled. Second time around was a little bit more successful, so I got right in front of the door as soon as these guys were coming out. Luckily, I hit the active camouflage right at the right time, meleeed this grunt just to take him out. And the unfortunate part here is, unless you get far enough away from that door to have it close, it will not shut if there are enemies nearby. So I was just trying to watch through the peephole, see if anybody was still in front of that door. Luckily, the Flood and the Heretics combated it out. And so here I get some allies. I load them up with some better weapons. And then we head up the staircase here. The next bit wasn't actually too hard. It was just kind of a race to the finish. So we were just basically going between, or I was just going between active camo and getting behind all these enemies on the staircase to just take them out. It's still the grunts. The grunts just pain me with the needlers that just throw out your whole reticle. You can't aim for crap. Saw this guy sneaking up here at the top, so I decided to hit the active camo once I got to the top here, and I'm just bumping into people, just luring them right off the bat. So you can tell my my combat skills are just pristine in this moment right here. So we take them out. We've got some sentinels to take care of, so they were pretty easy. And then once we entered the room, it was just about, the heretic leader room here. It was just a matter of clearing out a couple of the extra combat forms. Our allies took out all the sentinels. So I'm just going to skip through this bit here just so we can get to the main elevator ride and cut the cables at the top of the research station here. So you might notice that I make it all the way to the top of this kind of spiraling staircase, and I realize I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna need an energy sword to take out the cables. So there are all of those different combat forms there, but I decide, you know what, I'll let the sentinels take care of those ones while I jump back down and just grab an old energy sword that one of these guys dropped here. So now that I'm all loaded up, we head up the elevator and we're getting to the cables. Now, as a kid, this was absolutely one of my favorite bits. I thought about including the jump glitch here just because it's incredibly funny to watch. But basically all it is when the elevator starts to go down, you can time your jump and basically fly off the research station because the physics and the gravity changed just a bit. So this was definitely one of those moments as a kid that just brought a ton of laughter, and so we would do that over and over and over again and just crack ourselves up. So I might include that in just a short later on just to showcase that glitch. But here we're just again kind of making our way down the staircase using my active camo sparingly. Now in a second here, I have no idea how this sentinel just didn't shoot me right off the bat. Like, he's coming right at me. And he does end up clipping me a little bit, and so do these grunts, but I was able to luckily jump over this elite with the energy sword, make it past, and now we're back in the main research facility after a little Banshee ride. This section was just a lot of bobbing and weaving, using the active camo to make it past enemies. Now, this room was the one I was the most worried about in this section. Just because there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of enemies just shooting at the combat forms. A lot of things you have to sneak your way past. But in this case, I was able just to kind of skirt my way around it and get to the boss battle here towards the end of the level. The boss battle in and of itself was just a lot of repetition. Because I didn't research this beforehand, I didn't really look up at all, like, if I should, how many times we were going to duke it out, what was going to happen. So I basically just played it by ear. I figured out after a little bit that it seems, unless I miscounted, you only have to beat him twice. And so in these sections here, I was just going after the wrong elites. It was a lot of just using the pillars to try to recharge my shields, active camo, just to kind of get out of hairy situations. But yeah, a lot of times we were looking at this. It didn't work in my favor. I die a bunch. This ticked me off a ton. I didn't even know that he could come and melee you like that, just out of the blue. And so I just was like, okay, I guess I'll just get rabbit punched in the back of the head. In this section here, it was just, yeah, basically me trying to EMP and avoid a lot of stuff. But in this section, he flew, a little too high and immediately just took me out. And I died again and again and again in this section, just trying to figure out what's going to work best. And then, lo and behold, we get to the magic round where I was able to take out the couple of, I don't know if you want to call them imposters, but these clones. And then I was able to duck back in here with 8% left and melee the heretic leader to death. And that was it. Again, I didn't realize it was only twice that you had to beat him, because on Legendary, I think it's like 3 or 5 times you have to beat him. But made it to the end and are able to ride off into the sunset. So we'll be heading back into this with the Master Chief in the next couple of levels. Can't wait to see what that looks like. Let me know if you like the content here, if there's anything else you'd like to see. And I'll see you guys in the next video.